That's what all of these parables have in common. This kingdom initially doesn't look like what it's going to be. And so folks overlook it, and they undermine it, and they underrate it, and they bypass it because it doesn't look like what it's going to be. So here's what happens. Esther enters the life of King Ahasuerus, but she is a seed. She is undercover. She is a covert kingdom agent. God walked into the life of the king when Esther got into the life of the king. And by the way, I think I should say this. I think I should say that we confuse the issue of Esther and the king because of this word marriage. Isn't that right? Yeah. Esther married the king. She became his wife. And it's hard to understand how in the world can a believer get married to a kingdom of this world. How does a believer get into a covenant with the kingdoms of this world when we're called to not have fellowship, come on now, with darkness? We're called to not be in covenant with darkness. And let me tell you why that's confusing. It's confusing only because we don't understand what marriage looks like in the ancient world and in the pagan world. You see, what really happened for Esther is that she applied for a job. And her application was successful. She applied for a job alongside many other people applying for the same job. And she got the job. Now, it was initially a job. It certainly became a relationship, but initially it was a job. So she got a job in the kingdoms of men. Is there anybody here that ever got a job in the kingdoms of men? Whew. You got a job in a company, in a corporation, in an organization, in a system, perhaps in government, perhaps in banking and finance, perhaps in education, perhaps in some form of manufacturing, retail, whatever it was, you got a job inside the system. And when you got that job inside the system, you became part of a covert army of God in the systems of men. Now, I want us to perhaps recognize that this is absolutely God's style. His style. I noted in the Bible that there are 7 key pagan kings. 7 key pagan kings. Key pagan. There are lots of pagan kings in the Bible, but there are some key pagan kings in the Bible. And the Bible gives attention to them. There is the Pharaoh who knew Joseph. There is the Pharaoh who didn't know Joseph but knew Moses. There is Artaxerxes, whose cupbearer happened to be Nehemiah. There is Ahasuerus, whose wife happened to be Esther. There is Cyrus, who is the king that God anointed to rebuild the temple. There is Nebuchadnezzar. There is Darius. And do you know that in every case for these pagan kings, God had someone in their life, in their ear, unadvertised, unknown by the media, playing a critical role alongside that king. God had someone in the life of the king. Joseph was in the life of the Pharaoh, as Moses was in the life of a second Pharaoh. Woo. Nehemiah in the life of Artaxerxes, and Esther in the life of Ahasuerus. Cyrus had the prophecies working on his mind. Nebuchadnezzar, Darius, they had Daniel, and And that excites me no end, and I'll tell you why it's exciting for me. Because right now, in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and in the United States, the political pendulum has swung all the way over to the right, creating unprecedented uncertainty. And you know what happens in political uncertainty? It creates economic instability. When you are politically uncertain, you are going to slow down or be more cautious when it comes to your investments. And that now has the effect of destabilizing other facets of the economy. Also, when the pendulum swings to the right, it tends to favor the majority of natural-born citizens, and it tends to work against minorities who are of immigrant descent. So people who are descended from immigrants or who are immigrants in the UK are panicking right now. In Europe, they're panicking right now. In America, I know because on the day that the elections took place, I was there. I was in Harlem, and it was like the land of the zombies. Black people staring into nothing. What just happened? Somebody pinch me. Why'd you not? Because with this pendulum swing, we're in the season of political uncertainty, which then creates economic uncertainty. And I know that none of you feel sorry for us because that pendulum swung a long time ago in Africa, and the political uncertainty and the economic instability has become normal.
Yes.
So no one here is crying for us over there. But I'll tell you the good news. The good news is that it doesn't matter how pagan the king is that is in charge. God will always open a door and make a way for a covert kingdom ambassador to get right into the palace and right into the ear of the king. God is always at work in the kingdoms of men because the Most High rules in the kingdoms of men, and he gives it to whomsoever he will. God is not sleeping, ladies and gentlemen. God is not nervous right now. And the economy of heaven is not in recession right now. The economy of heaven is stable right now. The government of heaven is stable right now.
Yes.
It's going to plan.
Yes, sir.
It's all going to plan. So I want to show you very quickly how the covert kingdom works. And then I just want to release an anointing in this house. And it's been my privilege. You know, one of the gift sets of an apostle is that you can impart spiritual gifts. Did you know that? Well, it's been a privilege of mine to be able to impart certain kinds of anointings in congregations. And I want to release it here today. I want the Esther generation and the Esther company and the Esther crowd to get ready to receive an anointing that is going to put you in the palaces of men and give you more authority, more credibility, more significance, more wealth than you have ever had in your life and that they said you could ever achieve. It's going to happen for you. This is how the covert kingdom works. Whenever God is covertly moving into the kingdoms of men, he starts by creating vacancies. Woo! Oh, yes, he does. It didn't start with Esther, it started with Vashti. Because Vashti was filled with pride and arrogance, and she believed she was invincible. She believed she could not fall. She believed she had a job for life. She became complacent. She began to break the rules. She became an embarrassment to the king and an embarrassment to the kingdom, and she fell from her position. That was actually God creating a vacancy in the life of the king. Can I prophesy to you that in every kingdoms of this world, God is creating vacancies right now? People who think they have a job vacancies. That's what he does. You see, promotion comes neither from the east, the west, or the south, but God is the judge. He first pulls down one, then he sets up another. He is pulling down one, means he's creating vacancies. You know why Joseph was in the life of Pharaoh? Because God created a vacancy in Pharaoh's life. Pharaoh had dreams and nightmares, but he employed people to interpret his dreams. His employees let him down. That created a vacancy for someone who could interpret dreams. You see, God creates vacancies in the kingdoms of men. He creates gaps in their system, but that gap is the perfect size for your gift. You see, the gap was made for your gift. The vacancy is being made for you. And that's why nobody else can fill that space.
Yep.
I'm almost going where I want to go today. Every one of these pagan kings, God first created a vacancy in their life. He created a vacancy in Darius's life, in Nebuchadnezzar's life. God creates the vacancies. So, whoever thinks they've got a job for life, whoever thinks they're in control, whoever thinks they're ruling, whoever thinks they're running the corporation and running the show, I want them to know that the Most High rules in the kingdoms of men, and he gives it to whomsoever he will. So don't you be discouraged by saying there's no room for me at the next level. God will make room for you at the next level. You need to raise your expectation, raise your anticipation, raise your aspiration, and say there are no limits for me. Woo. We're going somewhere here today. So God first creates the vacancy. Once he's created the vacancy, he fills the vacancy. Now, how does he fill it? He fills it by favor. Everyone say favor. Now, favor is more important in your life than money. I need to tell you that. I need to tell you that favor will open doors for you that money cannot. And favor will provide things for you that money cannot afford. And favor will jump the queue for you because favor is not fair. Favor is not looking at your resume. It is not looking at your experience. Neither is it looking at where you are. But when God has chosen you for a promotion, then there is no witch, there is no wizard, there is no Illuminati, there is no Freemason, there is no lodge that can prevent your promotion to the next level because it happens by favor. Somebody shout favor. All right, I've got to get here now. Favor is a science. There is a biblical science of favor. Now, we have favor with God. Yes, we do. We all have that by faith in Jesus Christ. We have favor with God. But when God gives you favor with men, he does it by a scientific formula. And the science of favor works like this. Favor occurs when God informs the beliefs and opinions of key people about you so that they see in you what other people cannot see and what you sometimes cannot see in yourself, because he gives you favor in the sight of, which is their perception. So Joseph found favor in the sight of the prison keeper. Now, this is unusual because he is an inmate and he is in the prison for a heinous crime against the wife of an officer of Pharaoh. He is on death row. He is muddied. His reputation is tarnished. He has no hope of seeing the light of day, let alone seeing the promise that God made to him. God will only ever inform key people about you. He will never inform everyone about you because everyone doesn't matter. The only people he's going to inform about you are the key people in your life. And the key people in your life are the people who have the keys to the next chapter of your destiny. So if you don't have keys for me, I don't care what you think about me. If you don't have keys for me, if you can't take me to another level, what do I care what you think about me? We have wasted too much time, energy, sweat, tears, worrying about the opinions of people who frankly do not matter. Because even if you change their mind, there is nothing they can do for your destiny. They are not key people in your life. And so God will only inform the key people, just the key people, not the whole company, just the person making the decision, not the whole organization, just that person that can invite you a little bit higher. That's who he's speaking to. And you know what I found out? I found out that if God is not speaking to you about me, it's because you don't have any keys for me. If God is not speaking to you about me, it's because you don't need to know.
Yep.
Glory to God.
Hallelujah.
You don't need to know. So I don't need to bust a sweat trying to convince you. If God hasn't told you, it's because you don't need to know. You might be a key person in somebody else's life, just not in mine. I wish I had some help today. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you don't recognize the grace that is upon me. It's just that you may be a key person in somebody else's life, just not in mine. Because I found out that if you are pregnant with destiny, and I am pregnant with destiny, then the destiny that is in you will salute, it will leap, it will move, it will register with the destiny that is in me, which is why John the Baptist, as a baby in Elizabeth's womb, would salute the Christ who was yet in Mary's womb, because deep calleth unto deep, and it takes anointing to recognize anointing.
Yep.
To recognize
Come on.
it takes grace to recognize grace.
OMG.
Oh my God.
OMG.
It's done here today. And I'm not afraid of my enemies either, because I found out that the same favor that informs the key people that there's something in me that they need, that same dynamic will inform my enemies that there is no weapon you can form against me that's going to prosper. In other words, God will cause your enemy to see you bigger than you are. He will cause your enemy to see your face harder than it is. And as much as you are terrified of them, they are even more terrified of you because of information that God has given to them. Now I've got to start to close and tell you that I'm not sure that Esther was the most beautiful woman in the pageant.
Come on.
I'm not sure, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so while all of these beautiful women were walking past the king, he cannot see them. He just cannot see them. But when Esther, who is a Jewess, walks past, he can't take his eyes off of her. Why? Because promotion doesn't come from the east.
Yep.
From the south.
Yep.
God is the judge.
Yep.
I do secular work and talk to organizations and companies and motivate and train and marketing and sales and all of that. And we encourage them to read self-help and good books that keep you motivated. But I'm going to tell you, there's something terribly missing from much of the self-help literature that is out there today. And what's missing is this, is that when they tell their story, they'll talk about the fact that hard work and discipline and goals and focus is what's going to get you from where you are to where you need to be. But can I testify and tell you that for all the hard work and the discipline and the visions and the goals that I set, they didn't all do it for me. They were a necessary part, but they didn't do it for me. There came a part where favor had to break into my life and open the door for me that no man can shut. That's why I give him all that glory. Please remain standing. God is going to promote you supernaturally and suddenly. Sudden promotion is not a fantasy, it is a biblical fact. 24 hours before Joseph was the prince of Egypt and the father of Pharaoh, he was on death row with a tarnished and a smeared reputation. 24 hours before Daniel became the president of the princes in the kingdom of Darius, he was in the electric chair, otherwise known as the lion's den, serving the death penalty. 24 hours before Esther was the queen in Persia, she was nobody. I said that to say this, that in the next 24 hours, your life can change dramatically. Dramatically, God can change your life in the next 24 hours and take you from where you are and put you where He wants you. Now, when you get there, I want to speak the words of Mordecai over your life.